cube roots, what are they? Well, they're very similar to square roots. The difference is what number times itself 3 times to equal this number. And the cube root sign looks a little bit different. Here we still have the radical sign, but you'll notice this little 3 floating right above it or in front of it. That is a cube root sign. So we would read this problem as, what is the cube root of 8? So in other words, we're asking ourselves, what number times itself 3 times equals 8? Well, 0 times 0 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. But 2 times 2 times 2, let's work that out. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So the cube root of 8 is a number that has to multiply itself 3 times 2. So 2 is our answer. Okay, and let's just go ahead and box that in and make it stand out in our notes. Now, when we look at this, the cube root of 64, be very careful that you don't start thinking of it as a square root. I've seen a lot of people just go through and go, you know what, the answer is 8. Well, no, because 8 times 8 is only multiplying itself twice. So you see, that's not going to work with this cube root. We need a number that's going to multiply itself 3 times. So this is my advice. Go through and make this little chart and have it close by. And if you're on a test or quiz where you can't use notes, you can make this real quick. 0 times 0 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. You get the idea. Here's 2 to the third power, which would be 8. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Oop, there we go. There's our answer. The cube root of 64 is 4. And then you can just keep going right on down the line until you bump into 512. So there we go. The cube root of 512 is 8. Cube roots, generally, they're not going to give you a cube root that has a nasty decimal in it. Unless you have a calculator. So if you have a calculator, we can go over how to do a cube root sign in that later. But for today, basically, I would just say be ready to make this chart. And just remember, 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. And that kind of gives you a starting point about where to start. That's it. Except I forgot this one last page. So here's one important fact. Square roots, they can have a negative answer. But with the cube roots, at least when we're working with positive numbers like the cube root of 8, I know that the answer has to be positive. The cube root of 8 is 2. Why? Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. That's why. So why isn't it going to be a negative 2? Well, let's take a look at the negative 2's. What's negative 2 times negative 2? Positive 4. And what's positive 4 times negative 2? Negative 8. See, this is a negative, and this is a positive. That's just an explanation about why a cube root has to have a positive answer and only a positive answer. It would change a little bit if we gave you like the cube root of negative 8 or negative 27 or negative 64, but we're not going to do that. We're just interested in positive number cube roots right now.